When a narcissist realizes you're never coming back, it shakes them to the core. They never believed you'd have the strength to leave for good. In their mind, people always return, no matter how badly they were treated. But once your absence becomes undeniable, panic sets in. That's when they start making moves, desperate to regain control. These moves aren't about love. They're about power, ego, and the need to prove they still matter. The first move is love bombing all over again. They come back with sweet words, grand gestures, and promises they'll change. Suddenly they act like the perfect partner you always wanted. Flowers, texts, declarations of love. It's all part of the show. But the performance is hollow. They're not doing it because they've transformed. They're doing it because they want you back under their control. Love bombing is their oldest trick, polished and ready to use again. When love bombing doesn't work, narcissists shift into smear campaigns. They begin talking badly about you to others, twisting the story so they're the victim and you're the villain. They spread rumors, exaggerate, or outright lie. This move is designed to protect their ego. If they can't have you, they'll at least try to destroy how others see you. The smear campaign is a way to rewrite the narrative, keeping their pride intact. Another move is hoovering with pity. They reach out with sad stories, tears, or sudden crises. They may claim to be sick, depressed, or struggling without you. The goal is to pull at your empathy, hoping guilt will reopen the door. This isn't about genuine vulnerability, it's manipulation. They want you to feel responsible for their well-being. It's a powerful tactic, because they know empaths often respond to suffering. But it's a trap to pull you back in. The fourth move is anger and intimidation. When softer tactics fail, they lash out. They may send angry messages, show up unexpectedly, or try to frighten you into responding. Their rage isn't about missing you. It's about losing control. To them, your refusal to return is an insult to their ego, so they turn to aggression, hoping fear will succeed where love and pity failed. This is when their mask slips, revealing their true desperation. The final move is replacement and flaunting. When nothing else works, they rush to find someone new. They parade this person on social media, bragging about how happy they are. But beneath the show, it's all about you. The new relationship is a performance meant to sting, to make you jealous, to prove they're fine without you. But the truth is, it's hollow. Their rush to flaunt someone new only exposes how deeply your absence burns. Love bombing can feel convincing in the moment. The narcissist may sound sincere, repeating all the things you once longed to hear. But remember, if those words were real, they would have been spoken before you left. Their sudden charm isn't a change of heart, it's strategy. They believe flattery and gifts will erase the past. But the truth is, it's just a recycled script. And once you reject it, their desperation only grows stronger. During smear campaigns, narcissists often reveal more about themselves than about you. The intensity of their lies, the pettiness of their attacks, it all reflects their fear of exposure. They don't want people to see who they truly are, so they rush to paint you as the problem. Ironically, their need to smear shows how much power you still hold. If you didn't matter, they wouldn't need to talk about you at all. Hoovering through pity can be the hardest to resist, especially for kind-hearted people. The narcissist may appear broken, vulnerable, even lost without you. But look closely. This vulnerability appears only when they lose control. When they had you, they dismissed your feelings. Now they want sympathy as a tool. It's not about healing or growth. It's about regaining access. Once you give in, the mask will drop, and the old cycle will begin again. Anger is the narcissist's rawest response to rejection. They feel entitled to your attention, so your silence enrages them. They may threaten, insult, or try to provoke you. But their fury is proof of their weakness. If they truly didn't care, they wouldn't fight so hard. Their anger isn't strength, it's panic. It's the sound of control slipping away. And the more they lash out, the clearer it becomes that you've already won by leaving. Replacement and flaunting often backfire. At first, they post pictures with their new partner, trying to make you jealous. But in time, people start to notice the act looks forced. The smiles seem exaggerated, the happiness too staged. Instead of proving they've moved on, it highlights how desperate they are to get a reaction from you. The new supply isn't proof of joy, it's proof of their inability to handle your absence. When all these moves fail, the narcissist may cycle through them again. One week they try love bombing, the next they smear your name, and then they show off a new partner. It's a pattern of chaos. Each move reveals how lost they feel without control. They aren't seeking love or reconciliation. They're seeking fuel. The repetition shows the truth. They're stuck in desperation, while you found strength in moving forward. Thought bombing, round two, may look more intense than before. They promise therapy, change, and transformation. They talk about marriage or long-term plans, painting the dream you once hoped for, but it's all recycled. Their sudden epiphany isn't growth, it's panic. They realize their grip is gone, so they try to script a fantasy to lure you back. The cruelty is that none of it is real. Once they feel secure, the cycle repeats. Smear campaigns grow nastier with time. The more you resist, the harder they work to ruin your reputation. They may twist your healing into insults, saying you've changed, or think you're better than everyone. They may invent lies just to regain control of the story, but smear campaigns often collapse. Truth has a way of surfacing, and eventually people see the bitterness behind their words. Their move to smear becomes proof of their fragility. Hoovering through pity escalates too. Suddenly, they're in crisis after crisis. Illness, job loss, family drama. They pile it all on, hoping you'll break. They frame themselves as helpless without you. But remember, they thrived when you were suffering. Their sudden helplessness is a ploy. They don't want healing, they want attention. This move is cruel because it exploits your compassion. But once you see it clearly, you realize their suffering is just another mask. Anger turns into obsession. They may stalk, monitor, or send constant messages. They can't accept rejection, so they escalate their behavior, hoping persistence will wear you down. But their obsession only proves the depth of their loss. Instead of moving on gracefully, they spiral into rage. This move isn't about you. It's about their inability to accept defeat. And the more obsessed they become, the clearer it is that your silence is your greatest power. Flaunting the new supply is often hollow. They rush into public displays of affection, showing off as if they've found true love. But the cycle repeats with the new person too. Eventually the cracks show. The same arguments, the same lies, the same dissatisfaction reappear. The narcissist's biggest mistake is thinking new means better. Their flaunting move may sting at first, but over time it only reveals their pattern, while your healing shows true strength. As you remain silent, each of their moves grows weaker. Love bombing feels fake. Smear campaigns fall flat. Pity doesn't move you. Anger bounces off. Flaunting looks staged. The narcissist realizes nothing works. This realization terrifies them. They've lost the script. Their entire identity depends on reaction, and your lack of response leaves them exposed. Their moves, once powerful, now collapse into desperation. It's proof that your decision to never return has broken the cycle. Love bombing eventually exhausts them. They can only keep up the performance for so long. When they realize you won't take the bait, frustration sets in. They may complain, "I've done everything, and you still won't forgive me." This is the mask slipping. Their so-called affection wasn't unconditional. It was transactional. They expected a reward for their performance. Once denied, their charm fades, and the anger behind it surfaces again, exposing the game. Smear campaigns, too, reveal their desperation. They may rope in friends, co-workers, or even family members, trying to turn them against you. But over time, patterns emerge. People notice the constant drama follows the narcissist wherever they go. The move that once made you look like the villain now exposes them as the common denominator. Their attempt to smear you only highlights their bitterness. Meanwhile, your calm silence speaks louder than their noise. Pity plays often collapse when you refuse to engage. If you don't rush in to save them, they're forced to deal with their own mess. This terrifies them. They've relied on your empathy for so long that facing life without it feels impossible. But their suffering isn't your responsibility. When you step back, you reveal the truth. They weren't helpless. They were manipulative. The collapse of this move proves they were never as weak as they claim. Anger, as a move, is loud but empty. They may shout, threaten, or insult, but it doesn't change reality. Their rage is a mask for pain. Each angry outburst is proof that you hold power they can't reclaim. The more they rage, the more foolish they look. Eventually, others see the outburst for what they are, desperation dressed as strength. Their anger doesn't bring you back. It pushes you further away, deepening their defeat. Flaunting new supply is their way of pretending they've won. But the truth leaks through. If they were truly happy, they wouldn't need to show it off. Their constant display is a performance, not a reality. And deep down, they know it. This move is designed to hurt you, but often it backfires. Because while they're busy proving something, you're busy living peacefully. The contrast exposes their emptiness and highlights your freedom. When all 5 moves fail, narcissists spiral. They realize no matter what they try, love, lies, pity, anger, or flaunting, you won't come back. This realization is devastating because it proves their control is gone. Their moves weren't about love. They were about power. Without power, they feel invisible. And for a narcissist, invisibility is unbearable. Their collapse reveals the truth. You've broken free, and their tricks can't touch you anymore. Love bombing is meant to remind you of the good times. But when you've healed, those memories no longer pull you back. You see the pattern for what it was, an illusion to trap you. This is why the move fails. The nostalgia they weaponize is now powerless. You've rewritten your story and their recycled charm feels empty. Their mistake is assuming you're still the same person you were before. But your strength has outgrown their performance. Smear campaigns become exhausting, even for the narcissist. They spend so much energy painting you as the villain that they end up draining themselves. When no one fully believes their lies, frustration builds. Eventually, their bitterness makes them look worse than you ever could. The move that was supposed to destroy your reputation damages theirs instead. And this backfires proof that truth, once spoken through your silence, always wins in the end. Hovering with pity is cruel, because it preys on your compassion. But when you refuse to bite, they're left exposed. The tears, the stories, the desperation, all fall flat. The realization that you no longer feel obligated to save them cuts deeply. This move fails hardest, because it reveals how much they depended on your empathy. Once denied, they see the truth. Your compassion has turned into boundaries, and boundaries are something they cannot break. Anger grows louder when ignored. They may escalate their outbursts, trying harder to provoke you. But your silence starves their fury. Rage, without reaction, fizzles into nothing, and that nothingness is unbearable. Their anger move collapses because it's powerless without fuel. The more they scream, the clearer it becomes you've already won. By not engaging, you reveal the truth. Their anger is nothing but noise, and noise cannot control you anymore. Flaunting the new supply might attract attention, but it doesn't attract peace. Their new partner eventually sees the cracks, just as you once did. And when that relationship falters, the narcissist is left exposed again. The move that was meant to hurt you ends up hurting them, because while they tried to prove you wrong, all they proved was that they repeat the same cycle endlessly. And cycles never bring fulfillment, only emptiness. Together, these 5 moves reveal the truth about narcissists. When they realize you're never coming back, they don't seek growth or healing. They seek control. Every gesture, every outburst, every display is a desperate attempt to pull you back into the cycle. But once you see it clearly, the power is gone. Their moves lose their magic, and you remain free. The greatest victory isn't defeating them. It's refusing to play the game at all. Love bombing eventually becomes repetitive. You've heard the words before, seen the gestures before, and you know where they lead. What once melted your heart now sounds scripted and hollow. This failure leaves the narcissist frustrated because their favorite move has lost its power. The more they try, the faker it feels. Their mistake is underestimating your growth, forgetting that you're no longer the same person who once fell for the act. Smear campaigns also reveal their true nature to others. People start to notice how obsessed they seem with discrediting you. Instead of making you look bad, their bitterness makes them look unstable. The move collapses under its own weight. While they talk about you constantly, you remain silent, living peacefully. And that silence speaks louder than their lies. The smear campaign ends up exposing them more than it ever hurt you. Hoovering with pity fails hardest when you build strong boundaries. They may beg, cry, or even claim to be in danger. But this time, you don't respond. You see through the performance. And when they realize their pity move no longer works, panic sets in. Without your compassion to lean on, they feel abandoned. Their mistake was assuming you'd always sacrifice yourself to save them. But your strength has closed that door for good. Anger as a move often destroys their image. Outbursts, threats, and insults quickly reveal the truth to anyone watching. Their rage exposes the cracks in their mask. People see them for who they really are. The more they lash out, the more credibility they lose. This move, designed to frighten you, only embarrasses them in the long run. Their attempt at control collapses, leaving them powerless while you remain untouchable. Planting the new supply also fades in impact. The relationship they parade around begins to show cracks. Photos look forced. Smiles fade and whispers of dissatisfaction emerge. What was meant to make you jealous now looks pitiful. Their obsession with showing off proves they're not as happy as they claim. The move loses all effect because true happiness doesn't need validation. The harder they flaunt, the more obvious their emptiness becomes. When all 5 moves fail, narcissists sometimes cycle through them again, more aggressively. Love bombing turns desperate, smear campaigns grow nastier, pity stories become dramatic, anger escalates, and flaunting turns ridiculous. But each round feels weaker than before. The repetition reveals the hollowness of their strategies. You've seen every move, and none surprise you anymore. Their greatest fear comes true. You've become immune to their manipulation. Love bombing feels desperate when repeated. They might send long letters, unexpected gifts, or even public declarations. But instead of charming, it feels invasive. The magic is gone. Their words, once persuasive, now feel like recycled lines. This desperation exposes their weakness. They don't know how to exist without your reaction. The more they love bomb, the more obvious it becomes that their affection is nothing more than manipulation in disguise. Smear campaigns grow exhausting for them too. Maintaining lies takes effort, and people begin to doubt their credibility. They notice inconsistencies, or they simply get tired of the drama. Eventually, their campaign fizzles out, leaving them exposed as bitter and obsessed. While they waste energy trying to ruin you, you're free, building a peaceful life. The contrast couldn't be clearer. You've moved on, while they're stuck reliving the past. Hoovering through pity becomes embarrassing when no one buys it. They may try to play the victim to mutual friends, hoping someone convinces you to return. But when those friends see you thriving, they start to question the narcissist's stories. Their manipulation loses its charm. What was once effective now looks like immaturity. The pity move collapses under the weight of your strength, and the narcissist is left alone with their own misery. Anger, that once scared you, now feels pathetic. You see it for what it is, desperation disguised as rage. They may still yell or send cruel messages, but it no longer penetrates your peace. Their move, meant to intimidate, now only confirms their weakness. The more they lash out, the calmer you become. And that calmness is the cruelest truth for them. Anger loses all effect when it meets silence and indifference. Flaunting the new supply eventually hurts them more than it hurts you. They invest energy into proving they're happy, But the cracks show. The new partner begins to notice the patterns. The charm begins to fade. And history repeats. What was meant as revenge on you becomes punishment for them. Their flaunting move ends up exposing their cycle for everyone to see. The mask slips again, and the truth becomes undeniable. As each move fails, the narcissist is forced to confront a terrifying truth. They no longer control you. This realization is unbearable. Their entire identity is built on being the center of your world. Without your attention, they feel invisible. And invisibility is their greatest fear. Their desperate moves reveal their weakness, not their power. The harder they try, the more they prove you've escaped for good. Love bombing's failure often sparks a shift in you too. You see clearly how manipulative their affection always was. The charm that once pulled you in now repels you. This clarity is empowering. Their favorite weapon has become useless, and you've outgrown the illusion. The collapse of love bombing is proof of your growth. Their move didn't fail because they executed it poorly. It failed because you finally learned your worth. Smear campaigns become irrelevant. As you rise above them, people notice the difference between your calm presence and their constant drama. While they speak of you with bitterness, you live with grace. The truth shines without you ever defending yourself. Their move falls apart not because of your words, but because of your silence. In the end, lies crumble, and their smear campaign becomes their own undoing. Hovering with pity turns pitiful. Instead of sympathy, they inspire pity of a different kind. People begin to see through the act, recognizing the manipulation behind the tears. Their desperation looks less like tragedy and more like immaturity. The move collapses because pity cannot sustain power forever. What they wanted was control. What they receive instead is indifference. And indifference is the one response they cannot handle. Anger, once a terrifying weapon, now exposes their fragility. The louder they shout, the clearer it becomes that they're powerless. Rage without control is just noise. This realization eats at them. Their move fails because it no longer triggers fear. It triggers clarity. Your peace disarms their fury, leaving them empty-handed. And that emptiness is the greatest defeat of all. Their anger no longer controls the story you do. Flaunting the new supply eventually collapses into repetition. The same cycle plays out: love bomb, devalue, discard. The new partner becomes just another chapter in their endless carousel. What was meant to prove they've moved on instead proves they can't change. Their flaunting move becomes pathetic because everyone can see the truth. It's not a new life, it's the same cycle on repeat, and you've stepped off the ride for good. By this stage, the narcissist has run out of moves. Every tactic they tried has failed. They can no longer manipulate, no longer provoke, no longer inspire jealousy. The script they relied on is useless now. This realization crushes them. Their worst fear has come true. They've lost control. The moves that once defined their power now highlight their weakness. And in that weakness, they face the reality they've always avoided. The 5 moves. Love bombing, smear campaigns, pity hoovering, anger, and flaunting are all desperate attempts to hold on to relevance. But when you don't respond, they collapse. Each failed move becomes proof of your freedom. The narcissist's downfall isn't your revenge. It's their own behavior turning against them. Their worst mistake wasn't losing you. It was believing they could control you forever. And now the cycle has ended for good. In the end, the narcissist's desperate moves reveal a simple truth. You win by walking away. Their love bombs feel fake. Their smears sound bitter. Their pity ploys collapse. Their anger looks weak, and their flaunting feels empty. They tried every trick, but none could bring you back, because your strength is greater than their manipulation. The best revenge isn't anger or retaliation, it's peace. And peace is the one thing they can never take away.